Hi there, I'm the CRM Ninja, and on today's episode of the Oops Factor, I'm joined by the wonderful Sheryl Netley. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, EY. It's great to be here.
It's great to have you here. I mean, you are one of the most dedicated people who are watching it, or at least making comments on the various posts. So it's wonderful to actually have you here and talk to you.
Yeah, I really enjoy it. I really enjoy what you do. It's really nice to see everybody actually, bringing their whole selves and being quite vulnerable sometimes. I think that's a great role model to people who are just coming into the dynamic space.
Yeah, everybody sees, the success stories that are out there. I mean, thousands of hours of YouTube and other podcasts and stuff of people talking about great projects and, the sort of greats of the industry, talking about what they've done here, how to do this, how to do that. But we're all human. I mean, hashtag humans of IT.
Yep,
And, we all make mistakes, and it's important for people, especially who are new coming into the industry, to learn that in order to succeed, you have to fail because we learn from it so much.
totally agree. Totally agree.
We've all been there, done that. Now, before I ask you about your Oops Factor story, those astute people who are watching might just, if you're into music, recognize my background. And actually, I'm going to move to the side slightly because this is also because if I go like this, there's that. Now, for people who don't know what this is, I'm going to ruin the surprise. This is Glastonbury. And for those of you who haven't heard of Glastonbury, you need to go look it up. But the reason why I've got Glastonbury is, well, Cheryl, why don't you tell people what your connection with Glastonbury is?
Well, I've been going to Glastonbury for over 20 years, and I work at the festival. When I'm not working in Dynamics Power Platform, I volunteer at quite a few festivals, and Glastonbury is one of them.
Amazing.
So, yeah.
What's been your best moment at Glastonbury?
Oh, well, there are so many great moments, so many. I think I loved, I don't know if you know Faithless, but
I've heard of them.
Faithless, yeah, okay. So I like electronic music, and there's a band called Faithless who have got, an anthem which is called Insomnia.
Right.
So to see that performed at the Pyramids, with I don't know, 150,000 people singing and dancing along was pretty special. But there are
That
so
just
many
sounds,
moments.
that sounds
So
really,
many moments.
I'm sure. I mean, 2 decades worth of dedication to it is really something.
Yeah, I've been really lucky, really, really lucky. As I say, working there, I don't have to be part of the whole ticket lottery these days. So, that I do appreciate how fortunate I am to have that opportunity.
Indeed. Have you ever been up on stage?
I have actually, yeah. I've not not during the performance, not during the
Okay.
performance. I've been onto the pyramid stage because with the work that we do, we go to the festival before it starts,
Right.
and we stay after it finishes. I'm part of the recycling crew,
Okay.
so we make sure that all the recycling is not contaminated, and there's loads of recycling that goes on as part of the festival. So obviously, when the punters aren't there, the ticket paying public, we get to sort of wander around, and get to do things like sing on the pyramid stage. It's just quite special.
I have to ask this. Do you ever wear a t-shirt that says Dynamics 365 rocks?
Do you know, I've not done that. I've not done it. One employer once made me take my laptop because there was some urgent work that couldn't possibly wait until I got back from festival. And let's just say they regretted that decision when they saw the state of the laptop case.
I'm impressed that you managed to bring the laptop back.
I know. Well, there's secure lockups, right? So you can take valuables, but I just wouldn't normally. Under duress, I agreed. I can't say how much work I actually got done, but yeah, I've never done that since. For me, the festival is all about my 2 weeks of the year where I'm just away from everything, and I think we
Awesome.
all need that time.
Definitely. Very important to have time out. People at workaholics, like, great, you can deliver You know, you look at like a 9 to 5, 9 to 6 job and you think, haha, I'm going to be there at 7 a.m. and I'm going to work till 11 p.m. Nah, take your time off, take your holiday. That's vacation for people in America who are watching or listening to this. Very, very important to recharge, don't burn out.
Yeah, definitely.
So from Glastonbury to whatever you have to share with us this evening. Come on,
Right,
let's see what
okay.
it is.
So I've been working in IT for a long time. So I've got so many stories to choose from. I'm gonna tell you about two.
Two.
Two
Okay.
that are, yeah, they're work related. They're not things that have happened at Glastonbury or other places. Although I do have lots of those oops factors as well.
Tell you
So
what, we can have you back another time and you can talk Glastonbury. Oops.
okay. Okay, so the first one I'm going to tell you about is to do with I used to be a systems consultant, and
Okay.
as a systems consultant I looked after all sorts of back office systems, and there were a few people, there were a few people in our team, but there was a particular time when all of the other members of the team, for one reason or another, were not at work for about a period of, say, 6 weeks.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, so we had a lot of systems to keep running, and we were implementing new systems all the time.
Right.
And I was under a huge amount of pressure to get things done. And so, you know, like you do, I was juggling, you know, trying to keep everything in the air, trying to keep all the plates spinning. And
Right.
then one day, I thought I was managing that, right? And then one day I was sitting, you know, frantically trying to do something to keep another plate in the air. And I could see the finance director walked in behind me and straight into the IT manager's office. And they were chatting away. And then I suddenly...
Was it usual for the finance director to be walking into the office of the IT
No,
manager?
no, it really wasn't.
Gotcha.
So I was a bit surprised about that. And then I heard, you know, some raised voices, and then I heard the words backs, and then I heard the words month-end direct debits, and I was thinking, well, I've been doing some things with backs recently.
Finance
And then
people
I
listening to
thought,
this are suddenly pricking up their ears at this and thinking,
yeah,
"Oh, this sounds like a good one."
it was awful. You know, I remember listening to Chris Huntingford on when he did his Oops Factor, and he described the hot cold feeling, right?
Yep.
And that was exactly what I got. You know, I was like, oh no, it's me. I know what I've done. And immediately I just put those words together, and I realized that what I'd done was I'd been testing the backs for a new payroll system.
Right.
And the way that backs used to work, I mean, I've not worked on backs for a long time now, but the way that it used to work was that you couldn't send a test file. You had to put the whole system into test.
Yep.
And send your files through, and then let backs know once you'd finished testing that you'd finished, and then you'd send a normal transmission. So I'd done my tests, and that was great. They'd all worked brilliant. But what I hadn't done is I hadn't told backs to take the system out of test, so that when we then submitted our month-end direct debits, which, you know, they had a value into the millions,
Yes.
they went through as a test file. So yes,
Uh-oh.
that was a pretty big oops, right? But I was really, really lucky, and my employer, you know, they appreciated the fact that maybe I was under a little bit of duress at the time, you know, and they were very, very forgiving. I
It's
didn't
always
get the
good to have an
sack.
understanding employer in these situations.
It really is. It really is. And, you know, and that's one of the lessons that I learned. I think I learned 3 lessons from that experience. One was always use a checklist, right? No matter how well you think you know something, just make sure you've got that checklist there so that you don't miss anything. One of the best service delivery managers I ever worked with used to tell me that his most experienced engineers would be the ones who made the most mistakes, because
Yep.
you think you know it all, and it's so easy to have an oversight,
Very,
when,
very true. Yep.
yeah. So always use checklists, and sometimes, right, just say no. If you're overwhelmed and you're really struggling and you can't keep all of those plates spinning, sometimes it's better just to say, do you know what? I can't possibly do all of these things,
Yep.
that I'm being expected to do. You
It's
have
okay to
to be
admit you're
honest.
human, reach out to others. The last thing you want is
Absolutely.
people, letting people down because you're getting way too much on your plate. Tell people, send out warning flags, send up a distress signal, wave a flag in the air.
Yeah, absolutely. Like at Glastonbury, right? But definitely put your hands up and say, look, I'm doing my best here, but this is just too much.
Yeah, I mean, doing this in the office when you're feeling a bit
Yeah,
stressed, maybe a little bit above
yeah.
above the bar, but
So yeah, and the third thing was, we're all just people at the end of the day, right? And the relationships that we build at work are really important. And I truly feel that the relationships that I built in that particular employment were what were what
Yep.
really mattered. And they, the understanding, the level of empathy and compassion that I had in that situation really enabled me to carry on working there and to feel that I wasn't a complete idiot.
Yeah, no, very true. Very true. Well done on coming out the other end.
Yeah, well, it was it wasn't a pleasant moment, but I came through it. I soldiered on. And the second one I'm just going to mention is a few years later. I was working for a shared services partnership, and I was in charge of quite a large CMDB.
Right.
And this system, I felt this system was my baby. I'd worked hard on doing a lot of the implementations. I'd done all the training. It's sort of end to end. I was the expert, and I was really a little bit too close to this particular product. And at one time, I was looking at some of the data, and the data wasn't as good as I expected it might be. Right. So
Okay.
I thought I'd do a bit of tidying up. Okay. Now,
Directly into the database.
well, no. This is the thing, right? Because it was my system, I knew about a little backdoor that I could use to run batch processing, right? So I was happily going through bit by bit, updating all of these product names so that they were consistent, so that we wouldn't have a 17-inch, a double quotes, and then 17-inch in words, and then it was just too messy for my OCD sort of streak at the time. So I was typing it all up, and it was all going really well. And
As
then
these things do.
I put through, it was great. And then I put through one batch, and it was taking a really long time. And I thought, why is it taking so long? And I looked at the screen, and all I could see on my screen was 17-inch monitors, right? And as I was looking at the screen,
when we say 17-inch monitors, we mean the actual words or text 17-inch.
Oh
monitors,
yeah,
like
yeah, all the way through the database, like 40,000 17-inch monitors, right? So yeah, I mean, I think I'd left something out of the expression when I'd put my batch through that meant that I wasn't just updating a particular subset of the data, I was updating all of it, right? Yeah, an absolute no-no. And I learned some lessons from that. The first one being, just because you can do something doesn't mean you should do something, okay? I've got this saying that I use all the time, and it is, if you can, do, right? Because I'm a doer of things, but that doesn't always hold true, right? Controls are there for a reason.
Indeed. Yeah. And of course, always take a backup.
Always take a backup. Well, this is my next lesson, is that in a crisis, it's good to be friends with a DBA, right? And on that particular occasion, my good friend Dave and Tim, saved my backside. So, yeah,
Hopefully
still.
you had full logging going on and the logging wasn't being truncated and they used that to roll it back.
Yeah, no, they were fantastic. They had everything in place, and they checked, regularly checkpointed everything. So
Brilliant.
literally, the only thing that we lost were a few of my own updates from the past sort of less than an hour, thank goodness. So that was
I'm sure
quite
you weren't too
lucky.
bothered by that.
No, considering the absolute chaos that I could have caused.
Indeed.
So yeah, I was very lucky.
Wonderful. I mean, those are two absolutely wonderful stories. I'm just picturing them in my head, so I really appreciate you sharing them with us and coming on.
You're very welcome. You're very
Now,
welcome.
my next question to you, which of course you know, is who would you recommend and nominate to come on the show to share their Roots Factor story?
Well, there are so many people, right? So many people. I've got a list of people that I'd like to pick.
Okay, so I'm going to stop you there then. If you really do have a list, because I know you're great at this, I'm going to touch base with you offline. I want to get
Okay.
that list.
Okay, cool.
We're not going to nominate anybody specifically here right now.
Okay.
We're going to get the list. So whoever's listening to this, it could be you. We're just going to leave this as, I've never done this before. I've always had people, come on, except for one person when I had Ben Vollmer on, and he didn't want to come on, but he didn't have a list. He just didn't want whoever he nominated to come back and say, why the heck did you nominate me?
Oh no, I'm not worried about that. I've got, be afraid. Be very, very afraid.
We're going to do
I've
something
got a very long list.
Brilliant. Awesome. Sheryl, once again, thank you so much for your time and sharing it. As I said, I will touch base with you offline to get the list. Viewers, we hope that you've enjoyed the story. If you want to hear more about Glastonbury, go hit up Sheryl, go talk to her about it. Maybe sign up as a volunteer yourself, who knows, for future years when it's back and in person. Feel free to subscribe to the channel. Take a look at the other Oops Factor stories on the playlist. Have a great day.